and all councillors are in attendance tonight. And Councillor Schanberg will be reading the resolutions. But before we get into things, I'd like to welcome Jeff Mullenhughes, our new Director of Public Works, a new face here around the circle. So thank you very much. And I want to mention our Economic Development Commissioner. This is his last meeting, Len Magyar, after 39 years. 1986, you started with us. That is crazy to think. So let's have a great meeting, everyone. We had no closed session tonight. Are there any disclosures of pecuniary interest? Seeing none, disclosure of new business. Matters arising from the minutes. And that brings us to the minutes. Councillor Schanberg?
Yeah, moved by Councillor Schadenberg, seconded by Councillor Lauder, that the minutes of the regular meeting of Woodstock City Council held on June the 19th, 2025 be adopted.
Thank you. Any questions or concerns with those? Seeing none, all those in favor? None opposed. That is carried. Additions to the agenda. Councillor Schanberg.
Moved by myself, Councillor Schadenberg, seconded by Councillor Wismer Van Meer, that the following items be added to the agenda. I guess it's just one item. That's item 10B, consideration of correspondence. South Central Ontario Regional Economic Development Corporation request for letter of support for inter-community transit funding application.
Thank you. Any questions or concerns with that? Seeing none, all those in favor? None opposed. That is carried. No presentations or delegations tonight, but we do have consideration of planning reports. So welcome Mr. Miller for 9A, B25-24-8 and B25-25-8 for 607 Canterbury Street. Welcome.
Good evening, council staff, members of the public. As the mayor mentioned, B25-24-8 and B25-25-8 in the name of 634524 Ontario Inc. The subject lands are described as Plan 255, Block M, Lot 4 and Part Lot 5 in the city of Woodstock. The lands are located on the north side of Canterbury Street between Beale Street and Kent Street and are municipally known as 607 Canterbury Street. The subject lands are designated medium density residential in the county's official plan and are zoned R2 in the city's zoning bylaw. Concurrently with this application, the applicant has also made a request to make a zoning bylaw amendment to facilitate the above or the development that's proposed. The proposed applications for consent are to sever 2 lots to create 3 separately conveyable lots, 1 unit on each lot for a 3-unit townhouse that is to be constructed. The applicants have also submitted ZED 82505, which is a zone change application that seeks to permit a minimum lot frontage of 7.8 meters for the end units, a minimum side yard width of 1.5 meters for the western unit, and a minimum side yard width of 1.2 meter for the eastern unit. If you look at plate 3 that is on the screen there, you can see on the west side of the dwellings, there's a 1.5 meter side yard easement, and that's what we typically require so that the people in the middle unit have a way to access the rear yard. With respect to the PPS, the proposal is consistent with the intensification, redevelopment, and housing policies, as the application is considered an efficient use of land and municipal infrastructure within a service settlement area, provides for a diversity of housing types, and represents an appropriate density for new housing that makes efficient use of existing municipal services. Developments within the medium density designation shall generally consist of townhouses, cluster houses, converted dwellings, and apartment buildings. The proposed dwelling is a 3-unit townhouse that is consistent with the policy supported medium density types. Further, medium density developments shall generally be between 30 and 70 units per hectare. The proposed development is equal to approximately 33.9 units per hectare and is consistent with the policy direction for medium density developments. Staff are of the opinion that the proposal can be characterized as an appropriate street-oriented infill that is supported by the official plan. This area of the city is characterized by a variety of lot sizes, built forms, including infill developments, townhouses, and single detached dwellings and apartment dwellings. And the proposed lots to be severed and retained will not be out of character or inconsistent with the surrounding area. Staff is of the opinion that the proposed lot configurations are reasonable and will provide for an adequate building envelope for single detached dwellings on the lot to be severed and retained. As such, staff recommend that the City of Woodstock advise Land Division Committee that the city supports the applications subject to the attached conditions 1 through 7.
Thank you. Any questions of the planner? Seeing none, looking for a motion on the floor. Counselor Wismer Van Meer,
Moved by myself that Woodstock Council advise the Land Division Committee that the city supports application B 25-24-8 and B 25-25-8 submitted by 634-524 Ontario Inc. for lands described as Plan 255 Block M Lot 4 and Part Lot 5 in the city of Woodstock to create 2 new residential infill lots, subject to conditions 1 through 7 outlined in the report.
thank you. Do I have a seconder? Counselor Tate, discussion or questions? Seeing none, I'll call a vote. All those in favor? None opposed. That is carried. Next up, Mr. Miller, 9B for Karn Road.
Applications B 2510, B 2511, and B 2512-8 in the name of Viera Holdings, Inc. The subject lands are described as Concession 1, Part Gore, Plan 86, Lots 1 to 6, Plan 501, Part Lot 3 in the city of Woodstock. The subject lands front onto the west side of Mill Street, south of Pembers Pass, and are municipally known as 565040 Karn Road. The subject lands are designated residential reserve, and a portion of them are designated low-density residential in the county's official plan. And the subject lands are currently zoned residential zone 1 and future development. The purpose of the applications for consent is to create 2 new lots for immediate residential development, to create 1 lot containing an existing dwelling, and to retain 1 lot for future residential development within the city of Woodstock. These applications have been made concurrent to B 25094, which seeks to sever lands within the city of Woodstock from a parcel that is primarily located within the township of Southwest Oxford. Because most of the lands are located within the township of Southwest Oxford, the application will proceed directly to Land Division. So if you look at plate 4 that I have on the screen here, it shows the greater parcel in general. So the parcel that we're talking about that is within Southwest Oxford, that is it's used agriculturally. I think it also has a pit license on it. Is the red and blue sections in there. So the red section is the section of the parcel that is within Southwest Oxford. The blue section is a parcel that is actually within the city limits that we're going to sever off and add to the green parcel that is shown on there for future development. The applicants will consolidate the 2 parcels with frontage on Mill Street and intend to sever them to more efficiently utilize lands designated for residential purposes within the city. The applicants will consolidate 432 Mill Street containing an existing single detached dwelling with a portion of the much larger farm parcel at 56504 Karn Road, primarily within the township of Southwest Oxford, to consolidate their holdings within the city's boundaries. First, the lands considered in B 2509 must be severed from the larger farm holdings and added to 432 Mill Street. Following that, the severances proposed in these applications will create 4 new lots. Application B 2511-8 will contain the existing dwelling currently located at 432 Mill Street. Applications B 2510-8 and B 2512-8 will create vacant lots for residential uses, and a retained lot with frontage on Mill Street will be created for future residential development within the city's boundary. As a condition of severances, these lots must be appropriately zoned to reflect the intended uses. So if I just quickly go to plate 1 in the report, so you can see that the red The red lot shown at the north end is B 2510, and then the green lot at this in the middle is B 2512. Those are two vacant lots will be created. The blue one in the middle is the one that contains the existing dwelling. And the purple one to the south is the portion that will be it's within the city's boundaries and is intended to be developed for future development. The proposal is consistent with the intensification, redevelopment, and housing policies as the application is considered an efficient use of land and municipal infrastructure within a service settlement area, provides for greater diversity of housing types, and represents appropriate densities for new housing that makes efficient use of municipal services. Staff are of the opinion that the proposal can be characterized as an appropriate street-oriented infill development, and the intensification is supported by the official plan. With respect to the portion of the lands designated rural reserve and requiring compatibility with the adjacent aggregate operation, the applicants have submitted a noise study and an environmental study. The noise study concluded that no construction upgrades are required to address the noise associated with the aggregate operations, but recommends a warning clause in purchasing agreements and central air conditioning units for new dwelling units. The noise study also requires a 4 to 6 meter berm along the property lines as outlined in the report. Because the applicant is also in the aggregate operation, this mitigation measure should be easily achievable. The noise report also outlines acoustic mitigation measures required with regards to the processing plant, and these measures are proposed to be implemented through conditions of consent. The subject lands are zoned R1 in future development zone. Following approval of these applications, as conditions of approval, a zone change is anticipated and required to appropriately zone the subject lands. The applicant has discussed rezoning the proposed severed lands to R1 or R2, leaving the retained lands as future development until future plans come to fruition. Staff are of the opinion that the proposed severances are a form of street-oriented infill and are consistent with the policy direction of the provincial planning statement and the official plan and can be supported from a planning perspective. As such, staff recommend that the city supports the proposals to sever the subject lands, subject to 9 conditions, which is slightly more. There's additional conditions in there to address the noise concerns that are in the report.
Thank you. Any questions of the planner? Councillor Schanberg.
Yeah, from the mayor through to Mr. Miller, that yellow line that bisects all 4 of those lots that you just showed on that one plate. Can you describe what they are? Because quite frankly, that's not a city of Woodstock boundary, is it?
So through the chair, the yellow line that's on plate 1 that bisects all of those, that's actually just the zoning line. So the top of that diagonal line are the lands that are currently zoned R1. Below that line, they're zoned R2. Future development.
Thanks for clarifying that. Just for people watching at home, they probably think, well, what's that other yellow line for that kind of bisects the 4 properties? What actually is it? Thanks.
Thank you. Anyone else? Seeing none, looking for a motion. Councillor Tate.
I'll move that Woodstock Council advise the Land Division Committee that the city supports the proposals to sever the subject land subject to conditions B 25-10, 8, 1 through 9, B 25-11-8, 1 through 9, B 25-11-8, 1 through 9, and B 25-12-8, 1 through 9.
Thank you. Second by Councillor Lauder. Discussion or any further questions? Seeing none, I'd just like to make comment about, I've known for quite a few years that it was planned to have development on that little parcel, and glad to see this going forward. So thank you to the applicants. With that, I'll call a vote. All those in favor? None opposed. That is carried. That brings us to consideration of correspondence. So we got Safe and Well Oxford. Looking for a motion? Councillor Leatherborough.
Moved by myself that Woodstock City Council receive the correspondence from Safe and Well Oxford as information.
Thank you. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Schanberg. Discussion or questions? Seeing none. All those in favor? None opposed. That is carried. Next up, 10B, South Central Ontario Region Economic Development Corporation. Looking for a motion. Councillor Martin.
Thank you, Mayor Antonie. That Woodstock City Council authorized the mayor to write a letter of support on behalf of council for the South Central Ontario Region Economic Development Corporation application for funding to the Ontario Transit Investment Fund for coordinated intercommunity transit.
Thank you. Is there a seconder on that? Councillor Wismer Van Meer, discussion or questions? Councillor Martin, as a mover? Oh, as a mover, I'll go to you first.
Thank you. I do recognize Councillor Schadenberg that your hand was up first, but you might wonder why this is on our agenda because Woodstock isn't a member of SCORE. But through a variety of conversations that have taken place over the last, I don't know, 6 or 8 weeks, on what the future of transit looks like for Woodstock, for Oxford County, for Southern Ontario, because I sit on the board for SCORE. I was aware of this application that was going in, and so I thought, well, maybe there's an opportunity to just have a conversation between SCORE and Woodstock, specifically Woodstock Transit, an exploratory conversation. What can we learn from each other? And through that, the executive director at SCORE, Kim Earls, indicated that a letter of support would certainly benefit the application. This is an application for about $15 million, if I recall, and it will, it has the potential to allow Woodstock to connect to larger centers through the rural communities that connect us. And so there's no cost associated with this. There's no commitment of finances or resources from Woodstock on this. But it would certainly lend a lot of support to the application for SCORE, which is an application on a much larger regional scale beyond just Oxford County. So just wanted to share that kind of background in case people had questions.
Thank you. Councillor Schadenberg.
I'm not sure through the mayor to Councillor Martin, if she's the one that can answer the question. Just curious about the regional geographic that SCORE does cover. Haldeman, Norfolk, Tillsonburg, Ingersoll, what municipalities are included in the region? I could be wrong on some of those I listed.
Happy to answer that. So SCORE is a member-based organization of Norfolk, not Haldeman yet, but Norfolk, Brant, Oxford, Middlesex, Elgin. But intercommunity transit is actually an initiative that has an even larger scale. So it includes Huron, Perth, Lambton Shores, Gray, Bruce, Wellington. There's 9 counties within that overall system. So the $15 million application wouldn't be for all 9 counties. It is for a section of SCORE plus a little bit. So the route that used to go between Tillsonburg or Tego and Woodstock, that's one of the dozens and dozens of routes that there's another route that stops at our transit terminal every day and goes, I shouldn't say every day, I don't know if it's Saturdays and Sundays, but goes to Ingersoll, Strathroy, London, and now is extending down to St. Thomas to cover the Amazon plant and other developments along the way. So it's a broad ranging geography.
Thank you for answering that. Yeah. Anyone else? Councillor Tate.
Through the chair, I'm not going to support the motion. I think that going down this road will end up having to commit money. And when you look at how large this is, I think the public should be aware of what we're talking about. So having the mayor authorize a letter in support on behalf of council is concerning to me when the public has no idea what this is or what potentially we could be signing up taxpayers for. So when the community transit originally started, it was 5-year program that the province said they would fund for 5 years. And then after the 5 years, they said, if you want to continue, you have to fund it. And they found that it was not feasible. And as we all know, transit is never going to be cost. You're going to get what the actual cost is, but it was way beyond. So this is something I don't think that we should be taking lightly. And I don't think it's just a letter of support. I think it's taken us down a road that we can't afford, for one thing. And I would like to see the other interested municipalities, if there's any. I think it's way way too soon, and I honestly think that the public should be aware of this and what we're actually talking about, because we've got a habit here of not letting the public know about these big ticket items, and to me, this is a big ticket item, regardless if the other municipalities buy into it. It's still gonna be money from us.
Thank you. Counselor Martin?
So then just as a follow-up then to that, are staff aware of any financial implications to the city of Woodstock in signing a letter of support for an application for grant funding?
Your worship, through to Councillor Martin, no, we are not. It is a letter of support at this point only that's been sought, so.
Counselor Tate?
Yeah, just to follow up, I didn't say this letter, because I realize what it is, but it's taking us down a road that we're gonna end up having to commit. So I don't even wanna look at it. The cost of it is completely out of reach of any of the municipalities. And I don't see the benefit to the taxpayer, and I think the taxpayer should know even what we're doing, and the taxpayer should know if the mayor is signing a letter of support, what he's signing a letter of support for. So this was a late agenda item, so I don't know how many people have seen it or even understand it. So to me, it needs to have public awareness of what it actually is.
Thank you. Counselor Lauder?
Thank you. I also will not support this, even if it is funded by the province. My concern is province funds programs, and after some time, they decide a different method of payment for the program. The city could be expected to pick up a big share of this, either directly by the city or go to the county budget, of which we pay upwards of 40%. So I will not support it. Thank you.
Thank you. Counselor Schanberg?
Yeah, from the mayor, I guess, through either Harold DeHaan Engineering or to our CAO, Mr. Curry. The question I talked to Mr. Curry on the phone about earlier today was the idea of gas tax and gas tax dollars and how they assist Woodstock Transit to begin with, because obviously the Woodstock Transit is highly subsidized. But could the SCORE system or Southwestern Ontario transit system also be able to get money from a gas tax program as well down the line? And if so, how that could work or might work?
I'll try this one. Your worship, through to Councillor Schadenberg, the provincial dedicated gas tax, there's also the federal gas tax, but the provincial dedicated is what is directed only at public transit. It funds municipalities that operate transit systems, and so the members of the consortium that would form part of this funding application would be eligible for provincial dedicated gas tax once they begin operating a transit system. And currently it's based on a ridership population model, but I believe they are revisiting that funding model, so it may change. So the partners of this, I believe, would be eligible for provincial dedicated gas tax at some point down the road.
Okay, if I could follow up on that, if Counselor Schanberg would allow me then. Is it possible if SCORE was successful, through to Mr. Curry, if they were successful in getting more funding, is it possible then we would get more funding to help offset our current transit costs if we were involved in a scenario with SCORE? In your opinion?
Your worship, through to this question, if the city of Woodstock is not a partner in the intercommunity transit system that's developed or operated, then we would not be in a position to benefit from any potential dedicated gas tax dollars, in my opinion. If the city found itself as a partner in that, then it is possible that that something additional would flow, but that would be uncertain.
Okay, well, I do appreciate that, and I know there are what ifs, but again, that's the whole point to this. If we were to, again, no obligation, put a letter of interest, I'd be curious, a letter of support, I'm sorry. Yes, Counselor Martin.
Just to follow up on the gas tax, so the existing systems have been receiving dedicated gas tax funding. So that this application that SCORE is applying to doesn't change any of that. It doesn't change Woodstock's. I don't want to go down a rabbit hole here because the motion is about preparing a letter of support for a funding application for another organization. But just to be clear, they're already receiving gas tax funding. The existing funding for anyone in the system will not be changed as a result of this motion.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay. In that case, I will publicly state that I will be supporting this motion simply because of the possibilities of getting not only better transit systems for our residents going to other places, but a potential of other funds as well. So with that, Counselor Tate.
So just to be clear, the public has no idea what we're committing to. So you're doing a letter of support, but they don't know anything about it. So just be careful what you're doing, because just because you may get gas tax money, you got to fund the rest of it. So just be really cautious of what we're doing here. I get it's a letter of support, but what are you supporting? And I'll ask for recorded vote, please.
Certainly recognize that. Counselor Martin, did you, sorry, have your hand up?
Yeah, just wanted to follow up that this is the process, this debate and sharing of information is how the community gets to become aware. I have shared as much information as I can, and if you have further questions, I'm more than happy to answer them, as I know staff are. But this has nothing whatsoever to do with current gas tax funding for anyone. It is an application to a funding program, and they are asking for a letter of support. Full stop.
Yes, and be clear, anything financially obligations would be coming back to future council meetings or even a future council term in the future for any debate and discussion. Last chance, any other comments or questions before I turn it over to the deputy clerk? Seeing none. Sir.
Thank you, Your Worship. Counselor Martin,
Yes.
Counselor Schadenberg,
No.
Counselor Tate,
No.
Counselor Wiseman Van Meer,
Yes.
Maraccioni,
Yes.
Counselor Lauder,
No.
Counselor Leatherbarrow.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. No presentations from staff, no mayor's reports, no councilor reports, but we do have some department reports tonight. So administrative services, 14A1, statement of revenue expenditures statement, ending June 30th, 2025. Councilor Leatherbarrow.
Moved by myself that Woodstock City Council receive the statement of revenue and expenditure and the statement of capital expenditures for the period ending June 30th, 2025 as information.
Thank you. Do I have a seconder? Councilor Lauder. Discussion or questions? Councilor Schanberg.
Yeah, just a general question from the mayor through to our Director of Administrative Services, Ms. Harper. Just generally, being that the year is now 6 months over, but of course, a lot of bills get paid well in the past, going backwards. How are things going in your sort of your new role with the city of Woodstock? Just sort of a general consensus that you'd like to say.
Through your worship to Counselor Schattenberg, thank you for your question. Based on our Q2 review, I don't see any areas or for concerns. We seem to be on track.
Thank you. Counselor Martin.
Thanks, Mayor Ancioni. Just a quick question on the capital expenditures. I'm not sure, this is really a question for all directors that have capital projects underway. When I look at the very bottom line, out of $44 million in projects for 2025 and then prior funding approved, we've completed or we've spent 16.8% of, and this is halfway through the year. So I get just a tiny bit nervous that are we on track, or are there bills that kind of trickle in right after the end of Q2 that, of projects that are underway, or is this a normal process? Because by the time you issue an RFP and go to tender and so on, that we are kind of heavy loaded on the back end of the year when it comes to delivering on capital projects.
Your worship, through the counselor, and I won't speak to other departments. They can all make their own excuses. In terms of from engineering, I can say that it's a mixed bag of things that haven't quite gone out yet, to projects that aren't finished, to we have the Northeast Industrial Park right now, I'll be honest with you, with a large dollar sum attached to it. We are having some legal issues with going forward with that, so we're not as far. We haven't been able to tender a project for that one yet. So for my department, that's one of the big delays. When it comes to road reconstructions, I can tell you that we're actually ahead of target. We've tendered all the year's projects already. We're just waiting for them to be constructed.
Is that okay, Counselor Martin?
I really suspect that Mr. Connors wants to answer the question. He's just chomping at the bit to add to.
Well, there you go.
Your worship, through to the councilor's question, no, I'm not, but in Parks and Rec, I would say that for the most part, the parks projects are online. There's still several that are going through the process. The Sportsplex projects are on track. What hasn't happened that is a big dollar is the aquatics. The tender for the basin had just gone up, and the change room redevelopment hasn't gone up yet. We're still working with the architect. So those are two big dollar projects in our areas that haven't come to fruition yet.
Thank you.
No one's going to ask our new Director of Public Works yet, 4 days on the job.
I wouldn't ever.
Okay, there you go. All right, any other questions? Seeing none, then I'll call the vote. All those in favor? None opposed. That is carried. Nothing from engineering, cultural services, but we do have Parks and Rec. 14D1 fee assistance and recreation policy revision. Counselor Leatherborough.
Moved by myself that Woodstock City Council approve the amendments to Council Policy PR 017, fee assistance in recreation.
Thank you. Does this have a seconder? Counselor Schattenberg, discussion or questions? Counselor Martin?
Yeah, just a comment. I really like the change to this policy. I think it is a little more equitable to spread the money out or reclaim unspent money and reallocate it throughout the year. I think it is a fantastic way to ensure that we can help as many people as possible achieve, recreation opportunities. So a great change to the policy.
Yeah, to that, I'll second that. Yeah, losing my tongue tonight. To utilize all the funds every year is the goal. So thank you to staff for putting this together. And We talked about it at length at the radio station. I've got a lot of comments this week that weren't really familiar with FAIR program. So it's actually quite a surprise, and hopefully more people can use it. So thank you to staff. Anything else before I call the vote? All those in favor? Opposed? Carried. Brings us to Parks Department replacement tractor. Counselor Schanberg.
Yeah, the motion that Woodstock City Council approve the sole source purchase of a John Deere 5095M for project EQ 00033 for parks, replace the tractors in the amount of $111,245.45, exclusive of taxes, funded from the Equipment Reserve Fund from Premier Equipment Limited.
Second by Counselor Lauder. Discussion or questions? Seeing none, all those in favor? None opposed. Next up, economic development, sale of city-owned land. Counselor Wismer Van Meer.
Moved by myself that Woodstock City Council authorize the mayor and clerk to sign an agreement of purchase and sale with Demeter Veterinarian Services for the sale of approximately 2 acres of city-owned industrial land on Allier Street, and that the necessary bylaw be read.
Thank you. Do we have a seconder? Counselor Tate. Discussion or questions? Counselor Schanberg.
From the mayor through to our economic officer, Mr. Len Magyar, at his last meeting here this time. But this company, Demeter Veterinary Services, currently have an office in the city of Woodstock. So this is good news all the way around if you're planning on expanding.
Your worship, through to Councillor Schadenberg, that's correct. They have a number of staff in the area. I think some as far away as Guelph as well. So they'll be somewhat centralized once this facility is built. So this really, from our perspective, helps diversify our local economy because, of course, it serves the rural community. Just so people are aware, they're not actually bringing pigs or swine to the facility. These are people who are going out and performing services on the herds through a large part of southern Ontario.
Thank you. Thank you for asking him a question as well. I was going to if nobody else did. Anyone else? I'll call the vote. All those in favor? None opposed. That is carried. Well done, Mr. Magyar. Clerks, 14F.1, raising community flags and lowering of flags at half-mast policy. Looking for motion? Counselor Lauder?
I'll move that Woodstock City Council approve the amendments to Council Policy GA 012, raising of community flags and banners and lowering of flags to half-mast.
Thank you. Is there a seconder? Counselor Wismer Van Meer, discussion or questions? Seeing none. All those in favor? None opposed. Nothing from the CAO's office, Human Resources, Fire Services, Public Works, or IT. No special committee or advisory task force reports, but we do have a notice of motion. So Counselor Martin.
Thank you. Moved by myself that Woodstock City Council direct staff to prepare a report on the impacts of becoming a living wage employer.
Thank you. This motion will be read but not debated tonight. We will deal with this in August. That brings us to new business. Counselor Martin.
Thank you. Moved by myself that Woodstock City Council authorize the extension of transit and paratransit services to 11 p.m. on Friday, August 8th and Saturday, August 9th, 2025 to facilitate travel from Southside Park for Cowapalooza.
Thank you. Is there a seconder? Counselor Leatherborough. Discussion? Counselor Martin, would you like to speak to your motion?
Yeah, thank you. This came about, of course, several weeks ago, we approved, free transit for, Family Pride Day. And, as Family Pride was celebrating that online, there was a comment made that, well, why isn't there free transit for Cowapalooza? First of all, there's a number of special events throughout the year, and so Cowapalooza is no different than any of the others. But through seeing that comment, I did indicate that there is a free shuttle service already between Civic Arena and Southside Park, and Route 7 does service Southside Park. But the individual continued on in the conversation, indicating that they really wanted to see free transit for Cowapalooza. That gets a little bit complicated because Cowapalooza is a 2-day event, and we do already have that free shuttle that has been operating for a couple of years and has had increased uptake over the years. So in speaking with staff, I really wanted to consult with them before I brought this notice of motion forward. Um, the shuttle bus versus free transit, is one better than the other? Because it's 2 days, and if you were to offer free transit over the 2 days, there is a lost revenue, and staff indicated over 2 days that would be about $4,000. And their recommendation was that free transit not be offered for Cowapalooza. The shuttle versus free transit, the shuttle has a cost that I'll get into in a minute, but it increases the amount of capacity of people that can move directly between Southside Park and the car parking area, because parking is so limited down there. So it increases capacity and increases frequency because the free shuttle runs every 15 minutes. And it's a lot more convenient than wherever you happen to be having to ride free transit, get to the hub, then get on Route 7, which would potentially be overloaded at certain times of the day. So staff indicated that free transit was not the recommendation. They suggested two options: free transit plus the free shuttle, or the extension of services, which is the motion that I have read today. The free shuttles catching on. I think that it's important to keep that going, but extending service in the evening, that extra hour, will allow more people to get home safely, quickly, safely, and conveniently. The free shuttle, so extending service has a cost of about $600, and that's a combination of the 1 hour times the buses, labor, overtime, et cetera. The free shuttle that operates 5 to 7 plus on Friday night, and 5 to 11 on Friday, 2 to 11 on Saturday, times 2 buses, 30 hours of service, $75 an hour is $2,250. So in total, to extend the service plus run the free shuttle is $2,850. And so staff in their recommendation felt that that was a better option, more convenience, capacity, and a better value dollar-wise.
Well explained. Thank you. Anyone else? Counselor Tate.
Yes, I am not supporting this, as stated the last time with the free transit, and I would argue that 2850, there's a lot of variables that could be included in that, so I don't think that's a true number. We're also forgetting that all the people that bought monthly passes, they're now paying for the free transit for that day. So the amount of money we're already spending on Cowapalooza, it's in the budget. We keep doing this, as I said, we don't have any money, so it's going on the taxpayer. So one person commenting on Facebook, and then we're gonna spend more money. Well, why aren't we doing free buses for Street Fest? Why aren't we doing free buses for everything else? So
If I may, the option on the floor right now is option 2. It's not free transit.
Yeah.
It's an extra hour
Yeah.
of
so we're
service.
still paying, we're still paying.
There is a cost of approximately
Yes.
$600 to run
Yeah.
it extra. Yes, there is.
Yeah,
But
so.
it's not free transit. Just a reminder,
I know,
not a
so I'm
debate.
just saying that the costs were already with the free, and then keep adding. So it just leaves it open, as I said before, when we gave for free Pride, other people are gonna come forward, so exactly what we have, so where does it stop? So I cannot support it, and I think we gotta be really careful with the money we're spending. We don't have any money. Look at the taxes. It needs to stop.
Counselor Martin.
So I would agree that I don't think it's ideal to be making these one-off decisions. I think that it has an accumulated cost that is hard to measure when we make these decisions one at a time. However, there is a transit study that we approved in the budget that is headed out to RFP right now. I do believe it's even posted, closes near the end of the month. And that transit study will be looking at a breadth of factors, including routes, schedules, frequency, and any number of things that I haven't even thought of. And I would hope that one of the outputs from that study would be some recommendations around transit for special events. I can't have a preconceived notion of what those outcomes will be. But if those aren't addressed in that study, then I would say at that time, I would be willing to bring forward a notice of motion requesting a policy and a plan around transit for special events. But this is a one-off based on a request from a resident. I indicated I would bring it forward. It's here. And I'm hopeful that going forward, we can figure out a long-term solution rather than these one-offs of tinkering with the schedule.
Thank you. Councillor Lauder.
I won't be supporting this particular motion. I have thought about this a lot. I certainly agree with the shuttle because I know about the parking for the Canada Day. It was, parking was very limited. And so a shuttle bus would have been great to have. I certainly agree with staff preparing a report and coming back with a policy to establish the free busing for various events. Actually, I don't think that we should be giving free busing for the day because, and I know it's not in this particular request now, but it's $2.75 per ride. And the cost is actually $8.32. So we also already are subsidizing busing in our everyday busing options. And then the monthly pass, assuming used twice a day, 5 days a week, 4 weeks per month, that fare turns out to be $1.65 per ride. That's about an 80% subsidy. So I think it's really important that is looked at and some kind of a policy comes back. So but I won't be supporting this. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Wismer Van Meer.
I will be supporting this motion, and it's mostly based on the fact that we're holding an event where we invite our community to come down. We try to get them to come in vast crowds of people. We're not offering free transit, so I think we need to stop saying that because we're only causing confusion. There's no free transit here. We're simply extending for an hour. You're still paying for this transit to be able to get to and from. We're simply extended to 11. We have a beer garden at this event. We serve alcohol, so this option is getting people home safely without drinking and driving. We don't have enough taxi services within our community to offer or support that many people in one location at one time. So based on the fact that this is a community event we want people to come to, it's not free transit. You're still paying to be there. We're offering a safe ride home for folks who come out to enjoy. To me, it was really a no-brainer. I wasn't necessarily sure where I landed on potentially offering free transit. So I appreciate Councillor Martin taking staff's advice and doing just the extended option, but I'm sorry, but people's safety on the road is much more important to me than the $600 cost for one evening.
Thank you. Anyone else? Well, I'm certainly going to support this as an extra hour of community events, as mentioned by Councillor Wismer Van Meer. And Councillor Martin, of course, that I do agree that this is probably the right way to go, going with staff suggestion. I'm quite eager to see the results of the transit study and certainly would support any future motions if we wanted to look at a policy, if we didn't want to take these one-on-one at a time. But for right now, I think looking at Cowapalooza, knowing the history, knowing Big Wreck, I am expecting a huge turnout, an extra hour of service in order to get people out efficiently, I think is being responsible and money very well spent. And it'll especially with a license event with a beer garden as well, as mentioned, it's, the extra bonus. Before I call the vote, Counselor Leatherborough.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, I just request for a recorded vote, please.
Okay, anyone else before I turn it over? Counselor Tate?
Through the chair, just a comment. I find that offensive to say that we're not looking out for the public safety by not supporting this. We've never had an issue before with this event, and I don't expect it. To me, I think we need to be cautious, some of the comments that we make around the table.
Anyone else? Counselor Wismer Van Meer?
Just to follow up on that, I don't think I said that I said it's a safety precaution. We're have a beer garden. I just feel like it's this is something we're offering to ensure safety for our folks. Never accused that anything's ever happened. We don't know if there's been anybody that's been charged or arrested after deciding to drive impaired. We don't know those stats necessarily. But it's just, to me, this is one step towards offering safety for community. That's all I meant by that comment.
Thank you. Counselor Schadenberg?
Yeah, from the mayor through to our deputy clerk, Mr. Bunn. I guess more of a point of order question. When you go through a verbal vote with everybody, would the mayor not be voting last in case he has to break a tie? Or I'm not sure what the exact order should be on this. But specifically, I would think that would be the way it should be.
So through your worship, to the counselor, there is no prescribed rules in terms of the procedural bylaw on when the mayor would vote. Our order has been predetermined, and I'm not sure where the clerk had landed on that, but there is no predetermined rule on it.
Thank you. Anyone else before I turn it over? And bless you. All right. Mr. Bunn?
Thank you, your worship. Counselor Martin,
Yes.
Counselor Schadenberg,
Yes.
Counselor Tate,
No.
Counselor Wismer Van Meer,
Yes.
Mayor Accioni,
Yes.
Counselor Lauder, Counselor Leatherbarrow.
Yes.
The motion is carried.
Thank you. And that brings us to draft bylaws. Counselor Schadenberg?
Yeah, moved by myself, Councillor Schadenberg, seconded by Councillor Tate, that the following bylaws be given a first and second reading. 9763-25, a bylaw to amend the City of Woodstock Municipal Code, Chapter 94, from the Clerk's Office, temporary acting. 9764-25, a bylaw to provide for the purchase and sale of certain lands owned by the City of Woodstock to Demeter Veterinary Services.
Thank you. Any questions with those? Seeing none, all those in favor? None opposed? Counselor Schadenberg?
Moved by Councillor Schadenberg, seconded by Councillor Martin, that the following bylaws be given a third and final reading. 9763-25, 9764-25.
Thank you. Last chance. Any questions or concerns? All those in favor? None opposed. That is carried. And that brings us to questions and addresses by members of council. And tonight we're going to change things up and go with Councillor Wismer Van Meer in the middle.
I'm going to be short and sweet like myself, because I have a baseball game at 9 o'clock that I'm hoping to get to. I just want to say, I hope everyone enjoys the next month of summer. I know I definitely am. I'm going to take some time off next week, a little staycation with my family. Looking forward to Street Fest. I will just say that I'm not sure who was doing the social media, but the throwback photos that they had really like brightened my day on social media, because a lot of times it can be pretty dark on there. But seeing some of those throwback photos, seeing like the old Big V, which eventually was Shoppers Drug Mart, just kind of brought back the nostalgia of what I call sidewalk sales still today. So I try my best to remember it's Summer Street Fest, but looking forward to that next weekend, and I hope everybody else gets down there and enjoys it. And we'll see you all back in August.
Thank you. Counselor Martin.
Thank you. Yeah, it was in the news today that Southwestern Public Health declared that the first case of rabies in a bat was detected, so no petting the bats. But it does remind us that if you are ever bitten by a wild critter of any size or shape, that you should wash with soap and water, but seek treatment because you never know what the history of that little critter could be. I also want to say, Street Fest, I'm so looking forward to it. I know downtown Woodstock is so excited to be getting ready for that weekend of fun. I think that we'll find some awesome deals. I think that there will be vendors and food and all kinds of great reasons to come into downtown. There's people that haven't been downtown in a little while, and this would be a great opportunity to come out. So other than that, I hope people enjoy the rest of July, and yeah, looking forward to our next meeting in August.
Thank you. Over to Counselor Lauder.
Thank you. First of all, I want to wish Len all the best in his well-deserved retirement. His accomplishments in the city have been many. He has been a wonderful ambassador for our city. As we heard at his going away recognition, he has been well respected in his field of economic development. Enjoy your retirement, enjoy your time with your girls. And just looking forward to Street Fest and have a great summer. Thank you.
Thank you. Counselor Leatherborough. Keeping it fresh.
Yeah. I know Street Fest has been mentioned, but I am so excited. It's my favorite event of the year. So next Friday, July 18th, 19th, and then the Southgate Center does their car cruise on Sunday. So pedestrian friendly. And if you haven't checked out phase 1, it is absolutely beautiful. I feel like every time I pop downtown, something new has been added. So very exciting. And all the best to my seatmate here with your retirement, and wishing you nothing but relaxation and good times ahead.
Counselor Schanberg.
Want to talk about wild critters that you shouldn't get rabies from. The Piddock Conservation Area and the UTRCA are bringing in an organization called Speaking of Wildlife. Saturday at 1 p.m. is their show at the Piddock Conservation Area. There's wild animals that are there from a sanctuary in Aurelia. These are now sort of non-releasable animals that are sort of living in captivity. Maybe they were found strays or whatever they were. But anyway, admission is $16 for a carload, and it's at the rec center on Saturday. We've talked a little bit about Cowapalooza, but on Saturday, August the 9th at 2:30, making a return to Cowapalooza is live outdoor wrestling. Now, I don't know if Mayor Jerry and I would make for a good tag team or not, but the IPW Pro Wrestling Organization is putting this card on. So remember the good old days when it was Robbie McAllister or Derek Couch, if you prefer. He's not involved in this organization. Actually, Mr. McAllister now lives in Nova Scotia. So we look forward to that event, live outdoor wrestling on August the 9th on the Saturday.
And I gotta say, 25, maybe 30 years ago, I would have taken you up on that offer and I would have participated, but baseball men's league is good enough for me. Counselor Tate.
First off, I want to condolences to Ruth Carter's family. I know her family's not living in Woodstock anymore, but she was a well-known educator, and so was her husband before he passed away quite a while ago. But the reason I mention it is knew her forever, but when I read her the notes on her page, everybody commented on her volunteer work. So at Mr. Hardeman's 30th anniversary, I was sitting with Dennis Volmershels and we were discussing, different stuff in the city that had gone on, the community complex, the hospital, and all the input from the community. And we've said the next generation coming up are not seeing the same volunteerism or the same amount of money coming forward, like people like Dr. Reeves and the Volmershels and family, what they've done for this. So it really hit when I saw this and I'm like, yeah, a lot. So every time I see money, all the volunteer work that they do. So please encourage your kids or anybody you know, go out and do some volunteer work because it's needed. She did a lot of work at Sakura House, which I know it's difficult, but we need it. My other comment was, I'm saving Len for the end. And I sent to the county already, but we have had so many complaints about Huron Street, and it turns into Cedar, Norridge, So I've sent a notice of motion to the county. So the public knows it's not a city street, it is a county street. So I'm going to ask for a report for them to look at it because we've got so many problems. And I know they were gonna do the same thing on Dundas. So I'm hoping when it comes to county, we get the support. But so for the people of Woodstock, it is coming to county, so hopefully it gets looked at. And then, of course, to Mr. Magar. Before I was even on council, I went to Mr. Magar for some guidance and some help and information, and he was very helpful. So anybody that's thinking about running next year, our staff are fantastic. You were very helpful. You were very welcoming. And we are going to miss you. You've done a ton of work for the city. I think people don't even realize that the stuff that you've done. So we will miss you. I know Brad will be fine, but you will be missed too. So I hope you enjoy your retirement. You have earned it.
Thank you for that. Well, I'm gonna start off by saying thank you to Mr. Magar. We've done a fair bit of traveling together. We've been friends for a very long time. Actually coached soccer, what, 20 some odd years ago. I coached you. That's what's funny. Because, of course, you were, let's see, I wasn't even 12 years old yet when you started here at the city of Woodstock, to put that in perspective for everybody. So it's been a long time. I've had an absolute pleasure working with you and calling you a friend all these years. And certainly wish you well on a well-earned retirement. So have fun with your daughters and enjoy your time, my friend. Okay. It's my daughter's birthday tomorrow. She's going to be 22 years old, of course. So I want to say happy birthday to my baby sweetheart. Talk about time flying. I can't believe she's 22. So I'm sure we're going to have a good day. Street Fest was talked about already. I'm not going to go too much into that, but unfortunately, I only take off 3 days every summer, and that happens to be Street Fest this year. It's my Honda Indy weekend. I go down and work the pits for the car races all weekend. So unfortunately, I will not be down there. Of course, I love participating in the car show and helping judge out and everything else. So unfortunately, I will not be down there, but my wife Sarah is looking forward to it greatly, and she'll be down the entire time, I'm quite sure. And Cowapalooza has also been mentioned coming into August. So mark your calendars. It's going to be a fantastic event. On Saturday, Big Rec will be here in the city of Woodstock. You've learned that we did extend transit 1 extra hour, so please plan on using transit. Now you can stay for the entire show. Take your time and go home and enjoy everything. With that, I'll look for an adjournment. Councillor Leatherborough, second by Councillor Martin. All those in favor? We are adjourned. Thanks, everybody. Have a good night. Enjoy the summer.